and thank you for joining today's Technology Users Group on Mobile Learning. I'm Frances Rowe, and I will be your facilitator. The format for this seminar is lightning round presentations, followed by breakout sessions. The presenters we have are Jennifer Rafferty, Kristen Bourgault, Chris Neidig, Q Online, all Q Online, and we have Ed Donnald and Celia Dalzell from the library, and Jean Wong from biology. We picked, well, these individuals volunteered and were solicited because of their recent exploration of how these devices could be used, not just for communication and entertainment, but also for learning purposes and for teaching purposes. As part of the Faculty Collaborative Seminar Series, we're encouraged to align these seminars to the university learning proficiencies. And we feel that this seminar best supports the information fluency proficiency because we're attempting to demonstrate how these new and emerging devices can be used for intelligent purposes due to the many educational apps that are coming out for higher education, and also due to the lightweight and portable nature of these devices, enabling you to learn pretty much anywhere, anytime. We asked that, given the format of the seminar, the lightning round format and the breakout sessions, that you hold your questions until the end, because there'll be plenty of time to go from table to table and ask questions and have hands-on opportunities with the devices. So that said, I'm ready to hand it over to our first presenter, Kristen. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kristen Bourgault. I'm an instructional designer with QU Online. And I just wanted to give a basic kind of introductory context to the idea of mobile learning. So over the past few months, I've been exploring mobile learning, how it's been used in education, and I think every day more and more technologies are coming out and different ways of using them. So we're just going to kind of scratch the surface. I was just going to give a brief overview, and then later you'll get to see more detail about some of the devices. So hopefully it will just pique your curiosity enough to start kind of diving in on your own. Sure. So first, to start off, what is mobile learning? And I think it's really easy to just quickly define mobile learning in a really specific way, to think maybe, the iPhone is mobile learning. But in the context of this presentation, we're going to define it in a really broad way. We want to talk about mobile learning as sort of any learning that takes place either outside of the classroom and away from a desktop computer, or inside the classroom using one of the mobile devices that we're going to talk about. It's not limited in any way. You can, think about using an iPad in class for students to complete group presentations, listening to audio lectures on your iPod while you're at the gym, using a cell phone to participate dynamically in a poll, which I'm going to show you later in my presentation, bringing your laptop out into the field or onto an internship to kind of have access to the data right where you are, or even just recording yourself doing some kind of internship again, or reflective exercise using a flip camera. So mobile learning can work in two ways. You can either bring these devices into the classroom to enhance the student's experience, or they can also work by extending the classroom outside of your actual room and having students have access to information, content, and content creation with these devices. There are lots of different activities that students can use these mobile devices for, including things like productivity, scheduling, keeping track of their assignments, response and feedback, like Jennifer will show, self-testing, using quizzes, and also content creation, using maybe an audio recorder to record something, or a video camera, and then bringing that back to share with the rest of the class. And then the beauty of some of these devices is that they all connect all of the students and yourself as the instructors in a networked environment, so everybody has access to the same information and everyone can share the content that they're creating. So just to quickly take a look at some of the different devices, and later on people will delve deeper into what these can do in your class. So of course there's the laptop, which I'm sure many of your students already are bringing to class. But in the past few years, especially in the last year, the market's really exploded with lots of different kinds of devices, and I'm sure we're only going to see more. Up on the screen I have the iPhone, which of course connects your traditional cell phone with also having access to the internet anywhere. And in addition, there are a multitude of apps that you might find useful for teaching. Electronic book readers, which allow you to download books and read them kind of anywhere you are, on the subway, at the gym, at home on the couch. iPods, which can carry music. They can also carry videos, photos, and data. And the flip camera, which can, the sole purpose of the flip camera is to record video, and then you can upload it to your computer, and from there you can upload it to a variety of different places. So as I said, everyone will delve deeper into these different devices. So this is one way of using a mobile device in your classroom. This is a free tool called Poll Everywhere. If you purchase a subscription, there are more features. But right now, what I'd like you to do, if you have a mobile device, if you have a laptop, if you have a cell phone, and if you want to participate, there are two ways to do that. If you have a cell phone and you'd like to try to send a text message, you can send a text to this keyword up here, 22333. That would be the phone number that you can send. And then you choose one of these selections and type it in as the subject of your text. If you have a laptop or an iPad, an iPhone, and you want to go to the web, you can go to the web address up above poll4.com and choose one of these selections. So using something like this in the classroom, you build it on the web, you download the slide, you put it into your, is it working? There we go. You can download it, put it into your presentation, and then it's a way, especially if you have a big seminar class where you have a bunch of students and you want to kind of gauge where they are in their understanding of your content, you can get immediate feedback and kind of test their understanding. So, and I have another one later on if you want to try, if you didn't get a chance. See, it's dynamically recording the data as you're sending it in. And again, that will work with just with the cell phone or with any kind of device that can access the internet. So now you may be thinking, you know, what if everybody in my class doesn't have a cell phone? So I have a little bit of data. This was taken from a CNN poll, and as of right now, 82% of American adults own a cell phone. And I would venture to guess that with the traditional student population from about 18 to 24 years old, that's probably an even higher percentage who have cell phones, and I'm sure that many of them bring them to class. And then 17% of the people who own a cell phone have a smartphone, which again would allow you to access the internet or some of those other applications. According to the International Telecommunications Union, globally in 2009, there were reported 4.6 billion cell phone subscriptions in the world. And it's anticipated that by the end of 2010, there will be 5 billion or over 5 billion cell phone subscriptions. And just to give you a bit of perspective, there's an estimated 6.8 billion people on the planet. So that's a really large portion of people who actually have access to cell phones. And also the demand for mobile access to the internet has skyrocketed, and in 2010 that's expected to surpass 1 billion. So that in the next 5 years, more people will access the internet using mobile devices than using desktop computers. So now we know everybody has these cell phones and has smartphones, but what are they being used for? So this is some data out of the Pew Research Institute of what people use their phones for. So out of the people who own cell phones, they're using them to take pictures, to send photos and video, to access the internet, to record videos, to send or receive text messaging, and to watch videos. So when you take a look at all the different features that these devices have, you can begin to think how you might use this in your teaching and what types of activities you could ask the students to do using their mobile devices. So for some specific examples, Abilene Christian University has a huge iPhone initiative where they handed out iPhones to every single incoming freshman, and they developed apps that were specific to their university and specific to assist with their teaching. So that includes having accessible learning content that students could download onto their iPhones and take with them, classroom communication such as the polling software that we just saw, access to ebooks and readings, podcasts, and note-taking. Those are just a few of the apps that they've been developing. Duke University has a nice program where they use flip cameras, where students, instead of submitting a written assignment, they'll use their flip cameras to record video reflections and then share them with the rest of the class. At Simmons College, they have a biology mobile classroom where students go out into the field and bring their laptops with them so that they can test soil, do soil samples and other tests, and have their computers to actually crunch numbers. The Boston College has a really nice program that I would highly encourage you to take a look at called the Walking Ulysses program, where students have actually annotated James Joyce's Ulysses by adding data to an app where they can look and see photos of the locations mentioned in the text, little videos, audio clippets. It's a really nicely done program. So the students in that class contribute to it, but then also use it as a resource. At Tufts, they have mobile devices which deliver medical information to students out in the field on their internships globally. And the Harvard Business School provides case studies that are downloadable anytime, anywhere for the students to take with them. So just wrapping up, I have another poll if you want to participate. Again, you can either text to the number 22333 or go onto the internet and access poll4.com and then send as the body of the text or either the subject of the message the number that is associated with the device that you think has the most potential for teaching and learning. So hopefully that provides a bit of context for the rest of the presentations that you'll see, which are device specific and application specific to teaching.
I guess I'm next. I'm Ed Donnald. I'm the health sciences librarian over at the North Haven campus, and I'm going to take the next few minutes here to talk about the iPad and hopefully run some things by you that maybe you haven't seen, or just give you an idea of the kinds of things that are available on this. I'd like to say there's an app for that as far as learning everything there is to know about the iPad, but I haven't discovered it yet. So the whole idea of networking and hands-on opportunities is probably the best way to go. All right, go ahead. There's a lot of hype around the iPad. It's hard to believe it's only been out since April, but with all of these initiatives that we've been reading about and the hype, the reason, or one of the explanations for that, is it's kind of a new animal. It's not quite a laptop, but it's not quite a giant smartphone either, and it's not quite an e-reader like the Kindle or the e-ink devices. So it's kind of blazing its own sort of path with its capabilities and the things that it can do, and that goes along to explaining the hype. Just in a nutshell, there's 3 flavors of memory size that you can buy. They range from $500 to $700, and then you can add another $129 on top of that if you want the 3G, which would give you access through the AT&T network, wherever you're at, and not dependent upon just a Wi-Fi connection at, say, home or work or something like that. On the pro side for the device, it's fast. It's not like you have to necessarily wait for the computer to boot up. You just push it and it instantly comes on. So that is a very nice feature. It's got a long battery life, up to 10 hours of video, playing, they've indicated. So it's not like you're rushing to look for the power cord that a lot of our students are finding with their laptops after a few hours. It's lightweight, about 1.5 pounds, although there are devices that are coming out that are even lighter. But for everything that you get, 1.5 pounds, arguably not very heavy at all. You have the ability to play the multimedia content, the videos, everything that comes along with that. You have access to the internet. You can do your email. Of course, the App Store and the hundreds of thousands of apps that are available there, and the built-in iPhone infrastructure that came before is a big bonus as far as content to put onto it. And of course, the idea that we'd most likely be interested in is the idea of ebooks and reading and doing things with that. As far as the cons, on the other side, there isn't any physical keyboard that comes with it. At the moment, it's just virtually tapping on the screen. You can't print directly from it. There's no removable battery, so you're beholden upon at some point plugging into a wall and recharging it. There's no camera. You can't multitask. It's kind of a one application shot at a time. As far as what we'd be concerned for, one of the things that I would be looking for was the ability to project what's on the screen. If I wanted to demonstrate an application, I want to be able to plug it into the projector and actually display it. You can't necessarily do that. And then the big one that you might have read about in the news is that you can't play Adobe Flash products, the video that's out on the internet, and there's all kinds of reasons for that. Now, you'll notice that there are some asterisks next to many of these, and that's because this was the initial wish list problems that had set up when it first came out back in April. But many of these issues are being addressed by either third-party vendors or as far as hardware or software. And there are keyboards that you can dock into the station. There are some software programs that are working to allow you to print things off of it. So it's a constant changing sort of smorgasbord of the functionality. And so these things, there are kind of ways around it, and I think Friday, the next version of the OS is due out, and that would allow for the multitasking and the ability to create folders that you've seen on the iPhone. So good things to come. All right. One of my favorite applications is this one called Early Edition. The idea is that it takes RSS feeds from the internet. Maybe you have Google Reader or some other internet application that you've used, and it sort of brings them all together into like a newspaper, format that allows you to just sort of flip through. And so these are the RSS feeds presented in little annotated boxes. You can just sort of flip through the screen, kind of scan the headlines. You tap on one, and that would bring in the story that you're looking for. And of particular use might be tables of content. So I'm looking for kind of current awareness things. And you can go to many of our journals, Washington Post, the big newspapers. You create RSS feeds, you plug it into this thing, and again, you'll be able to sort of scan the headlines that they're sending out and drill down to read the article if you wish. Another application that I think is kind of interesting is this thing called Flipboard, and it follows along the same premise of gathering information from the internet, bringing it together in sort of this visual magazine kind of look format, and allows you to flip through pages. However, the nice thing about this is that it's targeted to, say, Twitter and Facebook feeds, more of the social networking. And again, you could, it comes up, you see the application, the Twitter feed that you want, you tap on it, and you can kind of read them all together. And I could see where there's implications if there was, say, a back channel chat using Twitter in a classroom or something, or a bigger discussion, and you wanted to use this format as far as a way to bring it together and kind of read that discussion that's going on as well. Instapaper is another great one. There's lots of different things that you come across while you're carrying around this quick, light little device, and you might see it on the internet. Instapaper allows you to just sort of bookmark whatever it is you're looking at, and it downloads it to an account that says, I'm going to save it or download it to the device so that you can read that later at a time when you don't necessarily have network connectivity. So if I don't have the 3G version here, I see this great article or a PDF journal article that I'm interested in, I can send it to my Instapaper account, and then I can read it whenever I want, wherever I want. Go ahead. So this is just an example of the Instapaper. You can actually create folders for organizing the various content that you bring down. And again, it's just a nice way to read content offline. Okay. Poplet. Up until now, these have been applications that are used for consuming content, and that's one of the raging debates. Is the iPad's great for consuming content, but how do you necessarily create content? So the Poplet application is one that I've come across that I've actually used quite a bit. for creating things, and it's kind of a mind mapping program. Basically, you touch the screen, a little box appears. You can fill it with text, you can fill it with images. You just sort of click and drag to connect these various boxes, and you can create kind of a step-through hierarchical path for whatever it is you might be doing, either brainstorming sessions. I've used it for, these are the steps going through a library instructional session. I want to make sure I cover this, and these are the implications. The thing that I really like about this is with a tap of a finger, I can export this to a PDF that I can then email to somebody or print out myself. So very easy to get it off the device. It's not trapped here. Okay. Another one that I found very useful is the iAnnotate PDF. A lot of the things that we ideally like in our world are the PDF articles or something in PDF. And there's lots of different readers out there that you can read a PDF on the iPad, but the iAnnotate application actually allows you, again with your finger, collecting colors. You can either highlight text, you can choose to underline text, include little notes about something if you want to annotate it. And the thing that I particularly like about this, you can go ahead to the next screen. Here's an example of underlining and kind of highlighting. You can actually draw content on it. But the thing that I really like about it is that, again, with a couple taps of the finger, I can export the text of what I've highlighted. So for example, I've read through a paper, highlighted a bunch of key paragraphs or statements. I export it to my email, and now I have a textual representation of just the eccentric or the intrinsically important pieces of that document. So again, a way to extract pieces and send it. Another nice thing is that if I were to send this PDF to, say, a professor or another friend, all of those annotations and markups are included with it. It's not just a film layer laid on top of what you're looking at here. It actually goes with the document. As far as the ability to interact in our Microsoft Office world, there's Documents to Go, which allows you to edit and view and create Microsoft Word and Excel documents. You can view PDF files as well as PowerPoint. There are also some a little more expensive, but applications called Pages and Numbers, for example, that gives you more formatting to actually kind of create Word documents that you can then pass back and forth with the Microsoft Word application. As far as the books, as I'm keeping an eye on what I've been reading about the books that are available for this, and ideally for us it's the textbooks. It's sort of in its infancy as far as what's available, and the publisher's trying to figure out models for presenting it and the ways of going about doing it. And this book here, The Peddler Lady, was one that I had come across that is very interesting in that the text sort of drops in. You actually see animation within it. The old woman or the crow actually will go, and the story is narrated for you in English, or with the tap of a finger I can have it in Spanish or French. So just an example of the real interactivity that could be available with books. And then finally, if you were to peruse the Chronicle of Higher Education, there's all kinds of postings there about how the iPad can fit into our world of higher education. And one of the ones that I thought was kind of interesting was talking about this idea of a device. The pass muster for a device to kind of fit into our students' world is it has to be a beanbag chair kind of advice. And what they mean by that is something that I can plunk myself down comfortably somewhere, pick up this handy little device, it instantly comes on, jump on it and either look at some information, look something up, turn it back off, get back to what I'm doing, and it really becomes part of my world as opposed to the whole issue of having to go and fire up a computer. And here are some points that come from that. So essentially, again, lightning round, that allows me to talk very fast. I do want to point out that all of our content slides, links, are pulled together into a library guide, and the address is up here behind me. So if you want to take a look at that later, feel free to go ahead and do that, and we'll refresh you what you might have heard or seen. So anyway, that's what I have to say about the iPad.
All right. So I'm up next. I'm Chris Neidig. I'm an instructional designer at QU Online. And I'm just going to build off Ed's presentation, giving us an overview of the iPad, and actually show you some apps that I think might be beneficial to you if you want to use this in your classroom. Okay, so as Ed mentioned, when I got my iPad, right, I wanted to hook it right up to the projector, and start using it, but unfortunately it doesn't work that way. But the benefit of using an iPad is you have access to all these apps that are out there that are currently built for you. So I did find an app that did let me project a web browser, because I thought if I'm in my class, I want to show examples of the web. Excuse me. Okay, so as you can see, I have a simple device here that I just hooked up the Mac connector, for those of you who have Macs, to the projector. And with this Expedition browser, I can now browse a web and project it in my class. So it's pretty similar to any other browser that you've used. You can bookmark your favorite websites. And so you can browse a web and then talk about it in your class. So a little slow here. So you know, one of the benefits of going with an iPad over a notebook is really the App Store. When comparing the two, I really think it's apples and oranges. You know, the iPad's great for browsing the web and using your personal content, but as far as doing specialized topics or areas, you really need this App Store. I mean, there's hundreds of thousands of apps out there. Hopefully you can find something that meets your needs. So I'll see if this works a little bit better. I don't know, my internet connection. So here's the New York Times, if you wanted to bring up a newspaper article. My first website was MSNBC, which actually didn't work so good. But looks like the web doesn't want to agree with me. So unfortunately, I haven't encountered this before. Of course, this is the first time this is happening. But this browser is pretty reliable. It has worked in our conference room at QU Online many times, and I've had no issue pulling up websites or even watching videos online. That's the good thing about this browser. I've gone to websites that are actually Flash-based videos, and this browser has played the videos right inside and projects it as well. So maybe after the presentation we can take a look and a bit deeper and see how it actually looks. I'll just try one more website.
So Chris, it actually plays
Of course this one comes up.
Flash, even though I thought iPads didn't play Flash.
Yeah, that's pretty tricky. So I've gone to websites that have, I know they're Flash embedded into the website, and it does play. I would love to show you an example, but so you know I'm not lying. But yeah, as far as the Flash issue, it's getting there, right? So Ed said, you know, this has only been out since April, but if anyone's in the techie world, last Thursday, Skyfire released their Flash-based app, which takes the HTML5 language that these sites are built off of. It'll take a Flash site and transfer that into an HTML5. Okay, that app got like blown out. Just too many people downloaded it. The servers got overloaded. But I believe that this morning they're supposed to be back up again. So the Flash is going to get there eventually, at least I believe. These developers see a need, and they'll make it. So here's like an MSNBC site.
And good morning to you, Meredith. Yes, it's a self-published ebook titled The Pedophile's Guide to Love and Pleasure, a Defense of Pedophilia. But the online
not the best topic. But you can certainly see, I'm not going to be too picky with it. So you hook up through the projector, you hook up through the audio, and it can project.
The Pedophile's Guide to Love and Pleasure,
All right.
Child Lover's Code.
Okay. So we can see it does play these, what I thought were Flash-based videos on the web. It does play them. So this is a pretty reliable browser, and it was 99 cents. It was $5, but about a month or two ago, got knocked down to 99 cents. So that's rule one, if we want to browse a web in our classrooms. Rule two is usually we want to have our PowerPoint presentations. So a lot more portable to use than bringing a laptop. You know, no booting times, right? I just put my iPad to sleep, it comes back up. So this is an app called Neidig, and it allows you to project your PowerPoints. What it does is it gives you an email account on their web server. You get a little bit of web space, and you upload your files from your laptop to this web space, and it'll pull up PowerPoint or PDF files. Okay? So I have my PowerPoint here. You can just slide along and talk about my presentation right to the projector. So pretty convenient. You can either upload your files directly to the web server, or you can actually email them to yourself, because they give you a web account to email to. Okay. So this is pretty cool. So, all right, this next app I'm going to show you is actually to show you how you don't actually have to be connected to a projector to actually access apps from the iPad. So we just need to hook these back up.
Yep, I can have myself up if you want.
All right. So I have this app that's called AirSketch. And what it does is when you create an account, you can allow users to actually log in. So you could like walk around the class and you just want to draw your finger on it. All right. So lens over here.
I can't draw, that's okay.
This is the way to go. Yeah, I don't understand abstract art, obviously. There's a real message there.
All right. So what Kristen is logged into is essentially a link from this website. So this link can be passed out to any student in your class, have them pull it up right in front of you.
The beauty of this is that it eliminates the need for a tablet PC, the cost of hooking up a Wacom tablet to your computer. And so if you're teaching something where you want, research methods and you need to be able to quickly draw things for students, you can do that with this app. So it's pretty exciting.
That other presentation, remember I was showing you the PowerPoint? Yeah.
You've done that remote like that?
Yes, that's what I was trying to do, but I was having a little bit of trouble.
Okay.
So I was going to get into the remote segment. But here, yeah, you can bring up graphs if you have graphs, and then, focus right on the graphs as well. Oh, sorry.
And you could record it with Camtasia Relay, so you had it from
So yeah. So if you have this appearing on your screen, because this is really just Kristen's computer projecting, you can actually screen capture this with Jeremy's Camtasia Relay. If you haven't been to that presentation, that's really good as well. So you can screen capture this and actually have it on your computer. So any image will come up, and so here's I know I have some science people in here. So any image, and then you can just point. There are like areas you want them to focus on. You can certainly write on it. You can use a stylus. So you don't have to be tied into the projector itself. That's what this app really does. This app is like $5, AirSketch. So, all right. So that wraps up my end of the presentation. Thank you.
Great.
Okay, while Kristen's connecting, I'll start. My name is Jennifer Rafferty, and I'm Associate Director of Instructional Design at QU Online, and also part-time faculty for the School of Health Sciences. And I'm going to be wearing both hats as I talk to you about StudyMate, which is an application that I used in a course that I taught this past summer. You have it available to you on the Quinnipiac software server. You just need to be on campus in order to install it. And let's see what's going on here. It's connected. Nope. Maybe not. Okay. Perfect. So StudyMate is a Windows authoring tool that allows you to create learning activities and games in Flash format. There are 10 different types of activities that you can create with 3 simple templates. I took advantage of the vocabulary cards in this particular application. You can customize the activities to meet your needs, and you can import content from Respondus, from a Microsoft Word document, or from rich text format. I published the activities directly to Blackboard with the idea that my students would either just review the flashcards there, or they would download the flashcards to their mobile device. So when you come to the table for StudyMate, you can also look at them on the iPod Touch that I have. Let's take a look at what they look like here in a module. So the student can click on the flashcards, or there are instructions on how to download to the device. Okay, and then the one drawback that I've found, especially in this type of course, because it was a language course and I wanted the students to be able to hear the pronunciation, was that you cannot download audio clips to the iPod. So if we take a look, I'll go back. If students want to review vocabulary cards with audio clips, they would need to do that right in Blackboard. Or maybe not. In any case, once I set up my computer over at the table, you can come over and look, and I can show you how it works with the audio clips. Okay. Thank you.
Next time.
If we come sit in a chair, neurons are the first thing that go. So I wasn't sure it was me or not. So actually, just to piggyback on that, we use StudyMate as well, and we use them in downloadable form with the flashcards. We also use the old iPod Classic, had the iQuiz game. We also have students create questions that can go into the iQuiz game. And StudyMate actually now has a new module, StudyMate Class, and they have an app on iPads and iPhones that you can go in if your university subscribes to it. Hint, hint. Cindy, that you can go in and all the flashcards and all those multimedia things that students can use to review is available in the app. So through the app, they can log in and get the flashcards and the quizzes and the crossword puzzles, all the other sorts of games there. One of the things we use now extensively in the courses I teach, including the online ones, is iTunes U. So when we developed courses for QU Online, we wanted the audio-visual aspects of it, and to do that, we used what was formerly Macromedia Breeze, and now it's Adobe Presenter. So there's two examples here, and this is what you would see if you logged into Blackboard and you got the Presenter program. So you can see that there's the main screen, but then there's an index along the side, so students can jump to a particular slide instead of reviewing the entire thing if they wanted to. So if you just press play. So this was a pre-recorded lecture, and there is sound to it. So the students listen to the lecture. They actually print out a PDF of the outline of the lecture itself, so they take notes as they go along. But the problem with this is
membrane-bound organelles have membranes which are similar in structure to what you saw
and you can
in
stop
the lecture
that one.
on.
So that they can follow along, and I actually have them do this before they come to class. And in class, we actually use another device called the Quizdom Remotes, where they're interactive in class, answering questions as they go along through the lecture, so I can see how they're doing and they can see how much they understand as well. But in order to do this, this is all first flash-based, so automatically an iPad doesn't support this. And you have to be tied to the internet to get this. So what I did was actually we used Camtasia to, I ran the lecture, recorded just that portion of the screen, and downloaded it to iTunes U. So Camtasia can actually take what you've recorded on the screen and automatically convert it to an iPod device. And then from that file, through QU Online, they had the iTunes U set up. You can attach it to your Blackboard course. The students go in. Then they get the familiar iTunes interface and can subscribe to your course. So any new lectures you put up automatically get downloaded into their computer, so they can use their computer, or they can sync it with their device so that they can take it along as well. The other lecture is one that was recorded in class. So the audio is recorded in class, but later synced to the PowerPoint. So the audio quality is a little different because you had to get rid of the background noise in the classroom. And there is an audio there, but that's a bit
up the human body. So as we go from the largest unit to the smallest.
Yeah, and same thing. But for this one, I was actually experimenting with Camtasia because you can actually go in and zoom in on specific things. So when you look at this lecture, you can see there, I talk about the different systems, but on the iPod version or the iPad version, it actually zooms into integumentary system or zooms into skeletal system. So on your small device, when you have the small window, it can highlight a specific feature of the slide you want to look at and then zoom back out as well. So there's these zoom controls in Camtasia. So the students like it because it doesn't tie them to the internet. The student athletes really like it because they can sit on the bus and review lectures as they're going to and from games. And so it's really useful, and I had to kind of do that because, again, these devices don't support Flash, and Adobe Presenter is all Flash-based. So I guess I'm at the iTunes table. When you go there, you can see how the pictures zoom in and out for the histology lecture and how students can go through it. So they can pause, rewind back to a certain point and play it again if they didn't understand something. And they do tell me it takes them about 2 hours to go through a lecture because they're always pausing, going back. But then they're really careful not to miss anything. And I can see how well prepared they are in class when I combine it with the Wisdom remote system. Okay?
Okay. I'm Cecilia Dalzell from the Arnold Bernhard Library. And can you hear me? Okay. I put together a quick glimpse into some future devices, which I also use the word dreamware because a lot of these things get rumored, sometimes announced and then canceled. Microsoft actually had a very cool one that they announced back in April, and by May they had canceled it. Go figure. Just a quick tour through some of these. These actually exist right now. The Dell Streak is a small device. These both work on the Android operating system. The Toshiba Folio is more of an iPad-sized. This one, 7 inches, there's been some talk about, is 7-inch a viable size or not? A lot of competitors, so-called competitors to the iPod, are attempting it, and you can see this one does come with a usable keyboard, which appears to be bigger than it is. And then on the next one, the BlackBerry Playbook. Well, let's try the video and let's see if we can get some. Okay, if we go to the website is the easiest thing to do. This is a 7-inch screen device that actually pairs with the BlackBerry you have or can be used as a wireless standalone device. And it promises the multitasking face-to-face conversations. It does have front and back facing cameras. Now, of course, this is the manufacturer's site, so there's a good bit of why it's so great. It does support Flash, HTML5, multitasking. But I would say the part that really impressed me about this is I see so many people, at first when I got assigned to BlackBerry to evaluate, I'm like, ooh, what's this? But as I started noticing around campus, there are a lot of students who use them, I think because of their texting capabilities, and then this gives you the large screen experience without having to get yet another phone plan, yet another, well, it is another device, but it pairs with the device you have. So it seems like something that we may see some adoption of. It is supposed to be released early next year. So then if we can go on to the next thing in the PowerPoint. Okay, this one we can probably play the YouTube video. I didn't do any editing here. It's a proprietary browser-based system. I think I caught somewhere that it was ultimately Linux-based. Part of the trouble with this is, since it is a prototype, they don't really publish a list of specs. There's descriptions, and then if you go into their blog and hunt around, it took me quite a while to find out how big it was. It's 8.5 by 11 screen size. And actually, that was one of my questions is, now they made quite a bit of showing the textbooks as the manufacturer and publisher chose. Sorry, I'm not used to talking over Queen. What I wasn't sure about is, can you then enlarge and decrease at your choice? And that's pretty much the end of it. Thanks. And then the next, this was fascinating. This is totally a dream at this point. But the idea of making an unbreakable, flexible, very inexpensive tablet.
One Laptop Per Child announced this week that they will debut a prototype XO3 computer 2 years ahead of schedule. The tablet, of which you're seeing a rendering here, will eventually cost $75 US, according to OLPC's founder and chairman, Nicholas Negroponte.
At CES, we will show a tablet that can be and will be used for children, probably in the developed world, that will allow us to start testing many of the things that combine, if you will, a laptop and an iPad and a Kindle, and sort of take those and put them into one device. The $75 mark, we're going to hit it. That's not a problem. What is a problem at the moment is, when will we get plastic? Because we really want this to be 100% plastic, unbreakable, sort of almost extruded out of the machine. CES 2012, we'll probably see that. CES 2011, it'll be glass.
He said that the XO3 will run an ARM processor and that the screen would be 9 or more inches. The first prototypes would most likely run Google's Android operating system, but he said it's ultimately an open-source Linux laptop.
And more important than anything else, and that's why I say God willing, you'll see a dual mode display, one that works both in the sunlight and backlit. And to me, that's one of the biggest features we need for our kids. Our kids are outdoors a lot, and just having it backlit doesn't quite work for outdoors. And just having it reflective doesn't quite work for nighttime, and especially in places where there's no electricity.
OLPC has had a tough road with hitting promised price points, so we can only wait and see if the group's latest offering comes in on budget. Reporting from the MIT Media Lab in Cambridge, I'm Nick Barber, IDG News Service.
Okay, and this is the last thing with no video. I just put this in because I've actually seen these at the Computers and Libraries Conference. It's a little projector about, you can see kind of the size of a candy bar. And it comes in 2 flavors. You can either buy one that you can upload your material that you want to project, which can be PowerPoint, audio, video, well, audio-video combinations, whatever, and then use it completely wirelessly as you're seeing these folks doing, or you can have one that connects to another device via a USB cable and projects whatever can be projected from that device. And in a conference room with lighting similar to this, they were able to, say, be that far away from a picture about that big, which is, I can see a lot of applications in small groups, group study rooms, that sort of thing. And apparently if you darken up the room, you can get a 50-inch diagonal display, which is pretty darn large. And so I included the URL for that as well. What I did, the embedded video didn't really work well with hosted PowerPoint either. So in the library guide, all the URLs are there, and you can watch the video at your leisure, and let them fully load so they're not so irritating. So, and there are plenty of other devices. There are people announcing tablets all the time. I just saw a new one on Yahoo today from Samsung. Just another basic Android-powered iPad competitor. So that was all I had, so then we can go on to the rest of the program.
I want to give the presenters a chance to get situated at their tables, and they'll be taking individual questions. You feel free to walk around and mingle and try things out. Thank you very much, Joe.